Now the Spirit of the Lord is the one that speaks through me. Before my mother's womb, He ordained and knew me, ransomed me, and placed His words upon my tongue. Few are chosen, rest assured that I am one, an ambassador for Christ, His beloved Son. And by His word, let souls be one. So welcome everyone to this listening party. Sit back and let your souls be hearty. Celebrate with me the gift that God has imparted. And what better way to get this party started than to give Him the stage, because He knows where your heart is. Holy Spirit, you are welcome in this place. Give me the boldness to look upon each face and speak every word that you've given me to say. With no fear I speak truth, I won't deviate, and I'm confident that all will go great. So let your presence saturate this place. I breathe in your spirit, I intake a river full of life, watering every dry place as I flow to the notes that heaven navigates. Let it bless every listener and free them today. Let the truth of your word draw souls to be saved. Let the Comforter comfort hearts today, and let the light of your word show them the way. Every time I write, I tell His story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. He opens up to me and shows me His glory. He gives me the strength to keep on soaring, and when I open up my mouth for Him I'm roaring, and the Spirit of the Lord goes before me. To the captive set free, that's reassuring. Over the years He strengthened my inner core, and every day I wake up just seeking Him more. Am I ready for this? In my spirit I'm sure I am in Christ, and my Father I adore. He redeemed me from destruction, I am His ambassador. As the world turns and open up the door, I step in with purpose to win souls for the Lord. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell the story as I bask in the truth of His word before me.
Hey, welcome to Tom the Bomb Sports Talk, the fastest growing show in the world. It's Monday, July 21st. Happy birthday, Cindy. And this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. If you don't think it's a great day, well, just try missing one. And we, LOVE, love sports and the Word of God on the Tom the Bomb Show. And yes, we are live on Facebook. We have a contact number here if you want to chime in. The number is 301 655 9992. That's 301 655 9992. And you can catch all the replays immediately after the live show on YouTube at Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. You can also contact us by email at info@tomthebombsports.com. And of course, you can always visit our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. Hey, gang, I'd like to personally thank you all for your prayers, your support. We've heard you loud and clear. For everyone that have reached out wanting to contribute to the show and our ministry, we sincerely thank you. With that, we appreciate your patronage, and you can bless us to keep creating content and spreading the word of God. Our business cash app is hashtag $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. That's $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. We sincerely thank you, and may God bless you 100-fold return on the seed that you sow into our ministry at the Tom the Bomb Show. As usual, we want to start off by thanking God for all the wonderful things that He's already done for us. And boy, He's worthy to be praised in 2025. Of course, our theme for 2025 is living in the grace realm. And if you guys are missing in our Friday night grace devotionals, you are missing out. Our foundational scripture for all of 2025 is found in 2 Corinthians 9:8, and it's the Passion Translation that Lori likes to remind me. And it says, yes, God is more than ready to overwhelm you with every form of grace so that you will have more than enough of everything, every moment, and in every way. He will make you overflow with abundance in every good thing that you do. Hey, gang, we had a poll question last week. Our poll question last week was, should the ladies' championship matches be extended from 3 sets to 5 sets, just for the championship. And you guys agreed with Tom Dwyer and said, yes, at least for the championship, it should be extended to 5. Well, we got another poll question for you today, and let's jump right into that because it's kind of meaty. So, our poll question today is pay us what you owe us. Should the WNBA players be paid more while the league is in financial trouble? Okay, let's start off with the obvious. The NBA and the WNBA are two separate professional basketball leagues. Duh, Tom the Bomb. Though, even though the NBA does have a significant, and I mean a significant stake in the WNBA, uh, over the weekend at the WNBA All Star game, all of the players wore a T-shirt saying on the front, "Pay us what you owe us. Pay us what you owe us." Well, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert responded to the players' demand, but her tone wasn't really well received by the players. Engelbert called their demands ungrateful and an insult, given the league's financial challenges. However, Engelbert also expressed optimism about reaching a new collective bargaining agreement, saying that she believes that it's going to be transformational. Well, we will see. We will see. Now, the players, on the other hand, they feel that their contributions are the backbone of the league's rising popularity. They've been pushing for a larger share of the league's growing revenue, okay, including the new $250 million expansion fee for teams that want to get a WNBA team. The WNBA Players Associations rejected the league's proposal, and the WNBA players are seeking revenue sharing. They want a larger share of the league's growing revenue, citing the disparity between the WNBA gets 9.3% revenue share, while the NBA players get 50%. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. But we're talking about the NBA and the WNBA. They also want salary increases, higher salaries with the current salary cap at 1.5 million. That's the counter. So for each WNBA team, for everybody on that team, their salaries have to fall in 1.5 million has to cover the whole team, and they want that to go up. Okay. And you know what? I actually agree with them on that. They also want off season freedom. They want to end restrictions that limit players from earning potential income abroad in other professional leagues. I think they should be able to do that as well. Okay, although I would think, with the thing that Brittany Griner went through with Russia, I think you ought to be careful what you're asking for. Okay, but but I think they should have that freedom to do that. If a woman gets the right to choose, she should get a right to be able to play wherever she wants to play. That's just what Tom the Bomb thinks. Uh, Man, you sound liberal. Okay. The league's financial situation has been the point of contention, with reports indicating that a $40 million loss is what they had in 2024. Now, NBA ownership, which holds a 60% stake in the WNBA, I told you they had a significant stake, 60% stake in the WNBA, has grown increasingly frustrated over the lack of profitability. Despite the WNBA has seen significant growth, with the national viewership up 23% year over year for the first half of the season. Now, the average WNBA salary is between 102,000 and 147,000. Now, rookie salaries, first year players like Paige Beckers, they can earn a salary around 78, 79K with potential earnings through market deals. Regular rookies earn anywhere between 62 and 79K. Now, the top players, I mean, the top paid salary in the WNBA is Jackie Young, and she makes $252,000 per year. Uh, and like I said, the total team salary cap has to fall in that $1.5 million category. Now, Caitlin Clark Caitlin Clark partnership with Nike, Wilson, Gatorade. Well, it pays her well over 30 million a year. And I think that's why the players they hating on her. They're drinking the haterade, okay? Because Caitlin making out like a bandit. But hey, man, that she's the drawing card. So that's what our poll question is. You know, should the WNBA players be paid what they're owed? Well, we'll see. Like I said, we talked about our poll question for the other ladies. I mean for the tennis. I'm kind of confused now. That kind of threw me off. I knew I didn't do that. Okay, let's get to our first topic for tonight. Uh, Alrighty, Scottie Scheffler wins the 2025 Open, dominating. Scheffler, the world's number one ranked golfer, left no doubt on his way to his second major of the year and his fourth of his career. Uh, it was supposed to be the sacrificial lamb's homecoming party for Rory McIlroy, playing at Royal Portrush, just a few miles from where Rory grew up. The hometown crowd was in full force with their support for the Masters champ, cheering every time he tied his shoes, every time he took a swing. But look, the world's number one had other ideas. Okay, it's kind of like like when you're having your homecoming game and you scheduled it against the best team in the land. You're not supposed to do that on homecoming. You want to win on homecoming. You're supposed to schedule a tomato can. Okay, ideally, like I said, you want to win the homecoming game. Well, Scheffler entered Sunday's final round with a four-shot lead, and then he turned around and fired a 3 under 68 to finish with an overall score of 17 under par. One fan said, if you had told me at the start of the week that the leaderboard on Sunday at one point would be Scheffler at one and McIlroy and DeChambeau tied at second, he said, I would have been thrilled with this type of excitement. But the truth is, there was no excitement. As a matter of fact, it was downright boring. Okay, let me stop right here now, because I just got through talking with my golfing buddies, and they kind of jumped on me. They was like, "What do you mean boring? It wasn't boring." I was like, "If you call, he's just playing great golf." I'm not talking about Scottie Scheffler when I say boring. Scottie Scheffler did what he was supposed to, but I asked the guy. I mean, all the guys was like, "It wasn't boring. He just was playing really good." I asked each and every one of the guys. I said, did you think anybody was going to win other than Scottie Scheffler? And every last one of them said, oh no, we knew Scottie was going to win." And I'm like, that's boring. Look, Tom the Bomb got up and went out and did yard work. While the British Open was going on, because I knew Scottie was. It was just boring. Look, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how no one in professional golf will stand up and challenge this guy and fight this guy. Okay, let's get something straight. First of all, I love Scottie Scheffler. He's a born again believer. Okay, we're both brothers in Christ, and I root for him. But he's no Tiger Woods. Okay, he's not. Stop it. He's not. He's the best ball striker since Tiger Woods, but guys would come out of the woodworks to try to beat Tiger Woods. Think about Bob May at the PGA. How about in 2009, Y.E. Yang defeated Tiger Woods? You say, who? That's my point. Y.E. Yang defeated Tiger Woods uh, with his first and only major title when Tiger was leading after 54 holes, and it's the first and only time that Tiger has ever blew a 54-hole lead. How about Hal Sutton stared Tiger down at the 2000 Players Championship? Who can forget? Be the right club today. Remember that? Be the right club today. Hal stuck it to him, man. And these guys at the time were considered to be nobodies in the golf world rankings at the time, and I wonder why. I wonder why. But the current players seem to be okay with Scotty running through them like a laxative. Okay, when is someone or on tour going to challenge this guy? Scotty is such a nice guy. He's such a nice guy, and everyone likes him. And Tiger wasn't. Tiger wasn't a nice guy. But at some point, somebody's got to man up and act like they got a pair. And I'm a Scotty fan, but I don't like it that the way that the other pros are rolling over and playing dead. Scheffler, the guys on the court, they say, no, Tom, they're trying to win that money. He's just so much better than them. Man, I don't want to hear that, man. Look, Scheffler has now completed 3 out of the 4 legs of the career Grand Slam, with the US Open as the only major that he hasn't won yet. And I'll tell you right now, he's the odds-on favorite to win the next US Open. Scheffler set the tone early on Sunday with a birdie on the first hole, and he never looked back. He never looked back. Nobody put any pressure on him, including the sacrificial lamb at his homecoming. Okay, at one point, Scottie Scheffler had a 7-shot lead. And that's Tiger domination. His dominance throughout the week removed any suspense. And when I say boring, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, like I asked the guys, did you guys think anybody else was going to win? They was like, oh no, we knew Scotty had that. And that's what I'm talking about. Where's the suspense? Look, if you're watching a thriller movie and you know what's going to happen at the end, if you Charles Reeve the movie, what's the point of watching the end of the movie? Hey, you, he dies at the end. You do know that he dies at the end, right? I mean, okay, what's the point of watching it if somebody spoils it and tell you what's going to happen? Everybody knew Scottie Scheffler was going to win that tournament. There was no way he was not going to lose, and so it was just no suspense. And that's what I mean when I say boring. I'm not calling Scottie Scheffler boring. Scottie Scheffler did what he was supposed to do. He handled his business just like Tiger would do. So Scheffler had one fan said this. Scheffler had the urgency and stress of a man taking out the trash a day early on his day off. Scheffler's 149-week run as the world's number one golfer is the longest since, you guessed it, since Tiger Woods. Record 281 weeks in the number one spot from 2005 to 2010. Uh, Scheffler is playing like Tiger. He's got he's got no weakness in his game. Now, check this out. Bryson DeChambeau, I love Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau said, "I played with Scotty a bunch in college, and he was not that good." So he's figured out a lot of stuff since then. That's great. I love that. He said it with a big grin too on his face. Like, I played with that guy in college. He wasn't that good. Uh, but boy, he done figured something out now. uh, his execution is the best in the business right now, is what Rory McIlroy said. Jordan Spieth said, Scotty doesn't care to be a superstar. He's not transcending the game like Tiger did. When he's not golfing, he's doing things with his family. He used to take the game too seriously, but something changed because he doesn't do that anymore. Jordan, let me open your eye. Scotty found a personal relationship with his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's what happened. That's the difference, pal. Scheffler said after winning that none of this brings him true joy, because true joy comes from having that one-on-one relationship with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. All right, we done worked that in twice a day. I'm loving that. Okay. So look, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Ask Tom the Bomb. Tom the Bomb will tell you. And Scotty Scheffler did himself. He said, my faith and my family always comes before golf. He gets us, and Scotty gets it. He's out there playing He's out there playing with a peace that passes all human understanding. So, along with the claret jug Scheffler gets for winning the Open, he earned another hefty paycheck at the 153rd Open Championship. Scheffler will take home the first place check of $3.1 million. And he's earned over $19 million for this season alone. By the way, Harris English Breakfast number 14, he earned 1.75 million for finishing second. Say it with me. Get your kids out playing golf. Get your kids out playing golf. Look, probably the most interesting thing of all of the 25-25 Open, two things. Number one was Shane Lowry was penalized 2 shots during the second round after rules officials determined that he caused his ball to move during Friday's second round after taking a practice swing. Now, the debate began about some of the rules of golfs are just old and antiquated and badly need to be revised. He gained no advantage, and the infraction, this is what I don't like. The infraction was found by using super slow motion super slow motion to determine that the ball oscillated. Uh, look, it's going to be terrible for somebody to lose a tournament on some BS like this. I'm sorry. It had no effect on. He gained no advantage, and some of these rules have been on the book for so long. They're just antiquated. And you know, it didn't. Well, it did cost him some money because two strokes is a matter of a lot of money. But I just hate for somebody to end up losing a tournament, on some craziness like that. I mean, the ball barely moved, man. It's kind of like back in the day where people will be watching and they'll see something on TV and they'll call in and say, "Hey, his ball moved." This is somebody watching from TV, and then they go and check it out, and then they come back and penalize you for it. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. The second thing was Rory McIlroy hit two balls in one shot during the third round in one of the strangest occurrences that I've ever seen, mostly than anyone has ever seen. Look, what happened with Rory? You have a better chance of winning the Powerball twice in a row than what happened to Rory. I mean, his ball is in the fescue. He hits his ball, and then there's another ball right below his ball underground that nobody can see. And because the club goes down and creates a divot, he hit his shot, and then a ball popped up out of the ground, out of nowhere, like a magic trick. And everybody was like, "Where did that ball go?" And then when they showed that one on super slow motion, it was just so weird to see a golf ball, just magically come out of the ground. It was just crazy, but you'll hit Powerball twice in a row before you ever see that again. That was just unbelievable. Hey, let's move on to our next topic. We got the Major League All-Star Game recap. The National League All-Star Game was decided by unprecedented derby-like home run swing off. Okay, uh, no All-Star game had ever ended like this before. Matter of fact, no Major League Baseball game had ever ended like this before. It was kind of a playground inning. Let's see who can hit the most home runs. So, what goes down technically as a 7-6 win, just the second for the National League in the last 12 Midsummer Classics. The 95th All-Star Game was the first of its kind, okay? It was tied 6-6 after 9 innings, uh, after 9 and then the National League out-homered the American League 4-3 in what was arranged as a six-man swing-off. Kyle Schwarber, I'm still mad the Cardinals didn't pick him up, was named the Ted Williams All-Star Game MVP after he bombed 3 consecutive dingers to right field to win the swing off. When we were watching this, I told Lori, I said, Schwarber's going deep 3 times. Before he got up to the plate, I'm like, Schwarber's going deep 3 times. Not once, not twice. He's going deep 3 times. And that guy has such the perfect home run swing. And the National League, it was probably overall, it was probably the most competitive game in over the last 10 years. I know Felix was excited. We'll have him come on and talk a little bit later about that. That was also one of the things that I really, really like is there was a very, very nice in-game recognition on July 15th of hammering Hank Aaron's famous 715th home run to pass Babe Ruth during an impressive projection of Hank taking Al Downing deep with the call of the late, great Vin Scully. That was really, really cool. I was sharing with Lori as we was watching it that, people don't realize how many death threats that Hank Aaron got just daily when he was chasing down that record. And, they had a lot of security there. And then when he hit 715, these two guys hop out of the stand and they run and catch him at shortstop. And, they're trying to pat him on the back and congratulate him. But with all the security there and all of the death threats, how did those two guys get on the field to get that close to Hank Aaron and actually touch him? Somebody was asleep at the wheel on that one, okay? And look, and like Tom the Bomb predicted for you guys, my Uncle Zoob called me and say, "Who gonna win the home run derby?" I said, "The big dumper." I, I said, Uncle Zoob, the big dumper gonna win the home run. He said, "Who?" I said, "Cal Riley. He's gonna win the home run derby." And boom, just like Tom the Bomb said, the big dumper won it, Cal Riley. It was actually better than what I thought it was gonna be. But hey, I told you this guy is swinging a man, and he won. It was more exciting than what I thought it was going to be. So I give him credit for running. And hey, the big dumper wins it. Man, isn't that just like the greatest nickname, the big dumper? And I love they actually talked about how he came up with this name. When he was younger, he when he was a young man, he tried out for a baseball team and he didn't make the team. And his dad said, "You're gonna have to work your little dumper off to get better if you want to make these teams." So he worked your little dumper off. So as he got bigger, he became the big dumper instead of the little dumper. So I thought that was pretty cool. When you get a nickname, a real good nickname can't come from you. You can't call yourself the Black Mamba. Somebody has to give you that nickname. I didn't come up with Tom the Bomb. They gave me that nickname, but a good nickname has to be given to you by somebody else. You don't get to pick your own nickname. I'm sorry, Kobe. I love you, but you don't get to pick your own nickname. Okay. Hey, gang, let's take a commercial break and let's pay some bills, and then we're going to come back with one other story, and then we're going to got 5 good minutes. And let me just explain this: 5 good minutes with Felix. 5 good minutes with Felix is like a country mile. I like when you say we know what a mile is, but when you go to the country, they say, "Well, just walk about a mile down the road." They're talking about 12 miles. They're not talking about they're not talking about 1 mile. So that's what our 5 good minutes with Felix is. Okay. I know we say 5 minutes, but it's going to be more than 5 minutes. So we'll be right back.
Window Nation is on the Morgan's home turf to huddle up about replacing their drafty old windows.
This free estimate is showing how easy it is to tackle the problem.
We can get any of these windows custom made.
Yes, you can get the quality and style you really want.
And at a more affordable price than they ever imagined.
Now that they've sealed the deal, they'll be saving money year-round.
We're really confident with Window Nation.
Get your free estimate today and get 60% off all windows plus no interest or payments for 24 months at getwindownation.com.
Sheltered by the Sea of Cortez, Danzante Bay is a pure and peaceful oasis, an uncrowded retreat where your options are as vast as your views. If you're seeking a vacation that defines luxury and the true relaxation, look no further than Villa del Palmar at the islands of Loreto. A splendor of true Mexican hospitality effortlessly blends with rich materials and satiable comforts to bring guests the ideal home away from home experience. With its quiet beaches, scenic vistas, rich history, and an astounding surrounding natural habitat, you'll feel as though you've been swept off to paradise. Not to be outdone, Reese Jones has crafted TPC Danzante Bay, a brilliant, multi-themed 18-hole golf course that runs over and through valleys, arroyos, dunes, and foothills. From every angle, striking images of the islands of Loreto and the surrounding mountain range take your breath away, while the challenging yet rewarding Baja Golf Course beckons you to return for more. It is an honor and my pleasure to welcome you to the world's most beautiful sunset and so much more.
Okay, and we're back. Every now and then, on the Tom the Bomb Show, we actually have to report some news, but it's usually sports news. So this I call this a Donald Trump story, okay, that we're going to talk about right now, because you know they're trying really, really hard to sweep this under the rug, and it's going unnoticed. And I figured we needed to talk about this. So, okay, it's being reported that sources have leaked that the NFLPA and the NFL agreed to keep the collusion findings a secret. Now, come on. Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder both saw this a mile away. After Cleveland signed Deshaun Watson to that ridiculous, ridiculous guaranteed contract that they regret, by the way, the rest of the NFL owners colluded to not pay the market value set by that contract for upcoming QB free agents, mainly Lamar Jackson, Kyle Murray, and Russell Williams. When Lamar hit the market, we were all like, the Commander should be all over him. Heck, every team should be all over him. But not one team offered the reigning NFL MVP a competitive offer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's called collusion. Okay. Multiple sources told ESPN that the NFLPA, under Executive Director Lord Lloyd Howe Jr., agreed with the NFL on a confidential agreement that kept secret the details of a January 14th arbitration agreement between the players, including a finding that league executives had urged team owners to reduce guaranteed player compensation. Multiple sources told ESPN on January 14th, arbitrator Christopher Droney ruled there wasn't there wasn't sufficient evidence of collusion by the owners in contract negotiations with QBs after the record. Fully guaranteed contract signed by quarterback Deshaun Watson in 2022. Now, any such collusion to keep salaries down would violate the collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and the union. But Droney concluded that the NFLPA showed by a clear preponderance of evidence that Commissioner Roger Goodell and the league's counsel, Jeff Pash, had urged owners to restrict guaranteed money in players' contract. The confidential agreement had kept details of the 61-page ruling a secret until about 3 weeks ago when Pablo Torre let the cat out of the bag by publishing the document. Now, of course, the NFL players were pissed. Okay. Now, 6 months later, the NFLPA is now seeking to appeal of the ruling. Now, all of a sudden, the NFLPA brass now wants to protect the players. Okay, look, this ruling, like I said, it affected Kyler Murray's contract, it affected Lamar Jackson's contract, and even it affected Russell Wilson's contract, with none of the three signing any guaranteed deals. Now, they had text exchanged and emails among league executive and owners in his rulings was found. Now, the NFL PA union refused to answer questions about why the decision to appeal took 6 months. Uh, an NFL league spokesperson also declined to comment on the record. Legal minds in the field said that by agreeing to a confidential agreement, the union purposefully blocked the players from receiving crucial information for the players. Uh, let Tom the Bomb cut through the red tape for you. Look, the NFLPA was on the take from the NFL to bang their own players. Okay. The NFLPA is now coming under scrutiny on multiple fronts. The FBI and federal prosecutors are investigating the union's financial dealings related to a multi-billion-dollar group licensing firm. Now, current NFLPA leadership is trying to blame DeMaurice Smith, his predecessor, for wasting resources on a 3-year legal battle. Now, during Smith's 14-year tenure as executive director, he and the union lawyers would routinely share copies of arbitrator rulings with members of the executive committee and the player reps. Okay. They have the right to receive copies of all arbitration rulings. That didn't happen in this case. So much for blaming your predecessor, right? Now, in the end, transparency protects everybody. Players, it protects the agents and the integrity of the process. The NFLPA executive director, Lloyd Howe, has now stepped down amid the conflict of interest in these conclusion controversies. Now, this is hot news just off the press. The guy that they decided to make the interim executive after Howe stepped down, he has now stepped down and quit too because and they didn't found dirt on him and his hand in the cookie jar. Uh, they found out that he was a paid consultant for a private equity firm approved to investments in the NFL that would allow them to own up to 10% of an NFL team. The more you look into this deal, the more it stinks. The bottom line is, imagine that you're on trial and your defense attorney is working for the prosecuting attorney and the judge. Wow, that sounds like being black in America. I told you Tom and Bob was going to cut to the. What did you guys expect me to say? Did you expect me to be hoity-toity? Come on, you know exactly what. How am I going to have a fair trial when nobody in the jury looks like me? Come on now. Look, let's bring Felix in for 5 good minutes. So, Felix, is there any doubt that something very similar happened to Shadur Sanders? Or just tell me what you think on this so far.
100%. I mean, after it's really just deductive reasoning. Aside from Shadur Sanders, people say what they want to about his stats and whatnot. Compare his stats to all the other people who got drafted. Like, take out all the other positions. Let's just look at the quarterback position.
Hmm.
It makes no sense for him to be drafted that low. I mean, even if you want to argue he should have been drafted high, it goes back to the whole thing. You can even go as far as Colin Kaepernick. Yes, I dare
Right,
bring him in.
right.
Yes,
I agree.
if you look at his last season in the NFL, yes, I know that he regressed. That is true because he started off setting an NFL record, going to the NFC Championship his first 2 seasons. Then from there, his team suffered. But still, if you read his stats, he still ranked in the upper percentiles for NFL quarterbacks in both yardage and quarterback rating. So it made no sense for him not to be on the roster.
Hmm.
I'm not even saying a starter, even if he's not going to be a starter how is he not at least a backup? So to your point, I don't. I have to be honest. I think that there's a history of this going on, and people have to remember the NFL's business, and businesses tend to do this. They work in cahoots with one another. They do deals for each other, and I can even talk about times the NFL colluded out in the open back in the 1920s. But that was a time you could talk about that. Social standards were a lot lower then. But you're, I'm definitely with you on this one.
Man, this is there's something rotten in Denmark. There's something rotten in the NFL, man. Look, man, we're talking about billions and billions of dollars, man. Uh, man, these guys. I'm not calling some any names, but I know someone who thinks anybody that's a billionaire is a thief, and I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, but I understand it. I- it's kind of like it's kind of like Chris Rock say, a man should never, ever, ever put his hands on a woman or hit a woman, but he can shake her hard. I, I don't agree with that either. Man, this is really, really a terrible story, man. I mean, and come on, Felix. If you can go back a couple of years ago and you just remember when Lamar Jackson was on the market and any team in the NFL could approach him and sign him, and not one person made him an offer. Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles could see that that's collusion. The two-time MVP is a free agent, and nobody's going after him. Are you kidding me? That's called collusion. That's what that is. And man, it is what it is, man. It's the golden goose, but it's interesting to me, like I said, that this story is not getting a lot of light, that it's not getting a lot of air. It's like like some really, really powerful people are sweeping this story under the carpet, man. And I just figured we had to kind of bring this out in the light on the Tom the Bomb Show. Felix, let's talk about the Major League Baseball All-Star Game results. What was your take? I know you enjoyed the game for a change, right?
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm relieved on this topic because the previous topic and the Chris Rock joke. If I didn't know any better, I thought he was trying to get me in trouble.
I would never do that to you, Felix. You my guy, man. I would never do that to you, bro.
The All-Star game. But I did talk to you about that game, and I did ask you, in your opinion, was that the best All-Star game ever? And you quickly let me know, absolutely not. But I did say it's a bit of recency bias.
Right,
You haven't seen
right.
an All-Star game that good in any sport in a long, long time. And you're talking about a game that started off the NL's leading 6-0, then the American League comes back with a 4-run inning.
Mhm.
Then it comes to ninth. The NL drags it to within one, and the Mets, their closer looks like they're about to steal the deal.
Mhm.
Then on the last hit, they tie the game. So it goes from there. And for the first time ever, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game was decided by somewhat of a mini home run derby.
Yeah, what'd you think of that? Wasn't that, I actually thought that was pretty creative. What was your take on that?
It's a great idea. It's exactly what they do in hockey when they run up the
Okay.
time in overtime. It's like a shootout.
Okay.
Basically, shootouts. It's a shootout, but it's with
Dingers.
baseball. And instead of awarding points based on how many home runs, the extra points award to the winning team. So I like that idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
pretty creative. Yeah, because in an All Star, like I say, in all All Star games, whether it's NFL, NBA, baseball, the main thing is you don't want those top players getting injured. Anytime you start talking about, especially in baseball, anytime you start talking about extra innings, that means a pitcher has to pitch, and nobody wants their pitcher out throwing extra innings in a All Star game. Nobody wants that. That's why the pitchers usually only go one inning. You for the most part they go one inning. So I thought it was a great solution to a problem that's been in the past. Hey, Felix, we got the NFL executive coaches and scouts have now ranked the top. Well, they've ranked all the position, but just this past week they got to the top 10 QBs, and I want to go through the list. And I'm going to get to this, but the problem that I have with the list is where they have Jalen Hurts on this list. But let's go through. Number one, they've got Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna go through the list and I'll let you talk. Patrick Mahomes, uh, and what I want to do is because the coaches and the executives and they all did this anonymous because they want an honest opinion. And what I tried to do, Felix, is just uh, bring to light what some of the executives, the scouts and the coaches were saying, because if it's anonymous, then they'll be a little bit more honest. Uh, but one of them said about Patrick Mahomes, and they do have Patrick Mahomes ranked number one, by the way. They said Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the same fear factor. I totally, totally disagree with that. Patrick Mahomes didn't have a defense, he didn't have any receivers, and they still went 15-1 and went to the Super Bowls. And you not afraid of that? Are you kidding me? At number two, we got Josh Allen. And I love this. Josh Allen coach, one of the executives says, Josh Allen is overrated. And his coach responded, there's idiots everywhere. I, I love that, man. I had to get that out. There's idiots everywhere, man. How true is that? There's idiots everywhere. At number three, they got Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is prolific. He's the most accurate QB in the NFL at 71% in his completion rates. And he's I love Joe Burrow. At number four, it is the most breathtaking player in the league at Lamar Jackson. Now, not only is the most breathtaking, he is the most feared player, and he should have won his third MVP. I'm still not happy about that. Okay, here's the surprise, Felix. At number five, they got your guy, Jaden Daniels, the phenomenal rookie season. He took one of the NFL's worst teams and worst defense to an NFC title. You know what? I got to let you in on this. Go ahead, Felix.
So I'll say that's no surprise at all. I mean, of course, I get it with him being a rookie. They generally don't want to rate them too highly because, again, rookie seasons are usually a small sample size. So I get why. Okay, some people saying he's a bit lower on the list than what his actual production was. I see that, but also again, making it to number five on this list, it's no joke. Being anywhere on this list is no joke.
Oh,
And
oh, man, it's a huge for the executives and the people behind the scenes to have a rookie at number five. At number five, you know how many great quarterbacks that? I mean, man, it just says what they really really think about this guy, man. And I think he's legit because as crazy as this sound, we know that he had the best rookie season in the history of the NFL. I think he's gonna be better this upcoming season, and that's hard to imagine. What's your take on that?
can you repeat that?
I said he had the best rookie season in the history of the NFL, and I think his next season is gonna be better. That's hard to
I
imagine,
agree.
but I
I
think it's
agree
gonna be
because
better.
a lot of people forget that during Jay Daniels' season this year, he played hurt, and that rib injury it knocked everything off. His mobility wasn't the same. His accuracy wasn't the same. And honestly, I get wanting him on the field. I get wanting him out there playing. But obviously, we took a chance on that one, those 4 games. And in reality, just signing the offensive line, I like how this team they saw a problem. They didn't wait for it to get worse.
Mhm.
We had that problem. We signed some offensive linemen to make sure this issue probably doesn't happen again. Most likely does not happen again. And we get a healthy Jaden Daniels week 1 to week 18. So again, to your point, yes, I like it, and I like how proactive this current current coaching regime is, because under the previous coaching regimes, we've had so many constant problems
Mhm.
that would just linger and no one did anything about them.
Okay, Felix, what's your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes? People not fearing him as much. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'd say that mostly owes to the fact that he doesn't have the same offense that he once did. Now, I understand where that does come from. And also, to be fair, I feel like his productivity is probably the worst it has been. I will give him this. He is the best player on their team. Without Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs just aren't the Chiefs, or as we know that. It's not even last year. But at the same time, I get why they're saying he doesn't have the fear factor. And if you look at a lot of their wins, I'll also add on this. They did go 16-1, I believe. 16-1.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I think that's a foolish statement. That's crazy. He didn't have he carried that team to where they were. How about Josh Allen being overrated? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll admit something. I used to be in that camp because I used to see how Josh Allen perform before he got Stephon Diggs. And his first couple of years, they weren't that great. I wouldn't say they were terrible, but he was good. Then he got Diggs, and I noticed, okay, he's throwing the 50-50 ball to Diggs. And I was thinking, it's really Diggs carrying it. It's really Diggs making this work. If he doesn't have Diggs, the guy who's a guaranteed shot on a 50-50, the Bills are a lot worse. Then after a while, it's like, wait a second. He's able to run a methodical offense.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that's another thing he has. Then I'm like, wait a second. He's able to do this without Diggs' help. As a matter of fact, I think he had his best season last year. So the Josh Allen overrated statement, I can understand where it came from, but I think he disproved that with this season last year.
How about Joe Burrow? What's your thoughts on Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow is probably one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm going to go this far with Joe Burrow. I really don't like the fact that they're making the argument between Mahomes and Allen. Number one, I think Mahomes is just better than all of them, but I would say if there's a number two to Mahomes, it's Burrows, in my opinion. I
Hmm.
know Allen was a solid quarterback, but
Hmm.
Burrows, he's going to get you those same yards,
I
and
agree.
he's going to get those with fewer hiccups. There are going to
Mhm.
be fewer errors, fewer interceptions. And I would also say another thing with him, pressure isn't really too much of a problem, or defensive pressure isn't too much of a problem with him because he's one of the quick release quarterbacks.
Mhm.
I noticed that from his rookie season. He can get a ball off to an open receiver before the pressure gets to him. So I'd say that if anyone's rated inappropriately, it's probably Burrow. I think he's underrated, believe
Okay.
it or not.
All right. And you okay with Lamar at number 4? And what's your take on him not winning this past MVP?
Yeah, there was a lot of problems with the MVP award. First off, as a Washington fan, this sickens me to say it belongs. Saquon Barkley deserved the MVP award.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Number two, also, I think that if any quarterback deserved it, there were quarterbacks that had better seasons than Allen. I know Allen had a solid year, but at the same time, I definitely think that yes, Jackson. If you want to pick anybody, Jackson, it would have made more sense. So I also agree on
Okay, let's move on. At number 6, we got Matthew Stafford. And one of the executives said, and I'm quoting, this is not Tom the Bomb speaking. One of the executives says, he's as tough as HI, he's as tough as crap. Let me say that. And I think of Matthew Stafford as an older version of Joe Burrow. What's your take?
That's a That's a very unique take. An older version of Joe Burrow. I mean, I definitely would say that he's a solid player. He was kind of held back by circumstances in Detroit, but yeah, He's definitely one of the better players of the generation. He's underrated. I don't think people talk enough about him
Hmm.
because, again, I think people mainly saw him as a guy who was carried by Megatron all those years. And
Hmm.
I think people finally appreciated Stafford when he came to the Rams and continued,
Hmm.
and he brought the Rams to a Super Bowl. I think that's when people finally saw what Stafford really was. So
Well, you and I, we like the stats. We do like statistics, and this is probably a quiet secret. But Matthew Stafford, according to the percentages, he's the best third down quarterback in the NFL. And quarterbacking, I always say this: quarterbacking is about moving the chains. What do you do on third down? And Matthew Stafford is the best third down quarterback, according to the statistics in the NFL. What's your thoughts on that?
that's a very crucial down, and that's a very good way of measuring clutch. That's a very good way of measuring how effective he is in crucial situations, high pressure situations, and third downs. Those matter. That's when
Mhm,
again
mhm.
it's when he backs against a wall, most pressure. How does your quarterback do? And it's a solid litmus test. So I think that's really a testament to his overall value and to his team.
Hey, look, at number 7, we got Justin Herbert, and his immense talent keeps him in the top 10, but I thought he should have been closer to 9 or 10. What's your take on Justin Herbert?
I agree. I agree. I would say with Justin Herbert, solid player, solid player, and of course, I would say with Herbert, a big part of the big thing no one notices is that he plays football. He plays clean football now, minus that wild card round where
Mhm,
he had a number of miscues. I think he broke the record for fewest interceptions in the full NFL season.
mhm.
And another thing a lot of people aren't talking about, Lamar Jackson also surpassed Brady's previous NFL record for fewest interceptions this year, both
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
40
So,
TDs with 4 or fewer interceptions. Yep, Lamar. Yep, you're right. You're
right.
right. You're right.
So, going back to it, I would say that with Justin Herbert might not be anything flashy sometimes, but at the end of the day, I'd rather take a quarterback who's efficient that doesn't make the errors than one who can throw for 500 yards, but he threw what 5 interceptions, including the game-losing interception. I mean,
Mhm. Look, at number 8, 2 years ago, the Rams got rid of Jared Goff like they was throwing out the trash. And I mean, really. And one of the things that impressed me is in the balloting, Jared Goff appeared on 82% of all the ballots. He's a pure passer. What's your take on Jared Goff?
I would say Jared Goff again. He's was part of that Detroit Lions team, and that Lions team probably had the best offense. Well, yes, the best offense all around in the NFL that year because you had a solid running back unit, solid receiver unit, so on and so forth. But Goff was also he was at the as a quarterback, of course, you can argue he was at the center of it. So not only that, but in this time with the Rams, he elevated them. And he got the Rams. If you remember, they were the best team or one of the premier teams in the NFL
Mhm.
in the late 2010s. So, um, to your point, he's still up there. So it's just a matter of them keeping the ball rolling with him. And yes, he's even. I said this. I said that if anyone's the MVP and it's not Saquon Barkley, if you want, you could go with Jackson, but my pick it's either Barkley or Goff. That's what I said
Mhm.
back in December.
Okay, he's definitely on the list. At number 9, we got Jalen Hurts. His Super Bowl win cemented his status, but I think this is a big diss having Jalen Hurts at 9. The criticism is he has a great offensive line. He's got a great running game with Saquon Barkley, and he's got a super defense. Man, you take Jalen Hurts off that team, the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl this past season. What's your thoughts on Jalen Hurts? I think 9 is too low for Jalen. What's your thoughts?
Although I would agree the Eagles don't go as far as probably don't go that far. I can rationalize that. Jalen Hurts production this year in particular, we know he's capable of, Jeff.
Mhm,
But if you look at his production this year, a lot of the games he threw for under 200. And the thing is that Saquon Barkley I would dare to argue, he played a bigger role in the Eagles' success this year than Jalen Hurts did. And again, Hurts, I know he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. That goes without saying. But in terms of productivity, I can see why he's that low on the list. Now, would I say that I could see why? Do I say I agree with it? Not 100% because I honestly can't rationalize putting him below Justin Herbert. I mean, I understand Herbert plays very clean football.
mhm,
He doesn't make that many errors, but realistically speaking, if someone walked up to you and said Justin Herbert's better than Jalen Hurts, I just want you to picture that. You
mhm.
know,
Mhm. I like Justin Herbert's talent, man, but I like quarterback is quarterbacking is so much more than having a great arm. It's so much more, and the leadership that he brings to that team. That's what think people are really, really overlook. He's the most calm person. Like, he's more calm than the head coach. It's 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 almost like Jalen is the adult on the team and not the head coach. I mean, really, really. And I think this is a diss, and he's been overlooked. And that happens to us. Look at number 10. We got Baker Mayfield, and man, let me throw this stat out at you, Felix. Only Josh Allen And Lamar Jackson have more TDs than Baker Mayfield in the last 2 seasons. Did you know that? Baker Mayfield, he's fearless, man, and he plays with a chip on his shoulders, and I think the defenses respect uh, Baker Mayfield because he brings it, man. He brings it. There's no fear in him. What's your take on Baker at 10? I'm glad he made the list too.
Absolutely. Baker Mayfield, he had the best year of his career. He basically showed people what hype was about, with him coming into the NFL, what he was capable of. He gave him the right circumstances and all. And quite frankly, the thing with Baker Mayfield, he's the type of quarterback, again, he's a dual threat, not just with an arm. He also has mobility. And again, he's clutch. He's a hard. I'll say this about the Commanders. Of all the teams that they beat on their run in the playoffs, their run leading up to the playoffs and
Hmm.
in the playoffs,
Hmm.
the Buccaneers gave the defense the hardest time out of
I
anybody.
agree. I
Uh,
agree. I
and
agree.
we like to think about the Commanders as being easily better than the Buccaneers. That's what people say. But at the end of the day, I saw those two games head to head. People forget week one, the Buccaneers blew out the Commanders
Yeah,
by
yeah.
17 points.
As a matter of
So
fact, in week 3 or 4, Nat Wood told me the Buccaneers are a playoff team. In like week 3 or 4, and I was like, really? He was like, yeah, yeah, they're a playoff team. I was like, wow, that early? Yep, and he was right. He was right, right. Hey, listen, let's tackle the top 100 players. We're gonna do this real fast, Felix. We're down to 80 to 71. We're gonna do this real fast, okay? At 80, we got Rashad Gary, defensive end for the Green Bay Packers. He had 47 tackles, 7.5 sacks, making his first Pro Bowl and an anchor for the defense in Green Bay. He's Green Bay's best pass rusher. Real quick, what you got on Rashad Gary?
I would say that pretty much based on everything you said, it pretty much speaks for itself. The stats speak for itself. And all the Packers have to do, again, really build on that, build the front seven around him, get the secondary back together. We're not going to talk too much about the secondary. They made a big questionable move earlier on this offseason. But yes, he's definitely I definitely say he's now the centerpiece of that defense.
At 79, we got Dak Prescott, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Despite only playing 8 games before suffering a season ending hamstring injury, he makes the top 100 for the 6th time. So he's still very highly regarded. He's still the straw that stirs the drink in Dallas, and they can't win without him. I kind of talked to some of the guys today, and they think Dallas is coming back strong this year. What's your take on Dak?
That's the thing. I'm a Commanders fan, and I'm going to tell you this: the Cowboys, they're one of the most talented teams in the NFL. Dak Prescott, people forget about this. He's one of the best quarterbacks out there. We make fun of how he, slips up for big games, but that's because we're only looking at the big playoff games, which are, yes, they're the most important. But at the same time, if you look at what got him there, what he does during the season, he's dangerous. And honestly, that year he missed half a season, 2020.
Mhm.
He still managed to be top 10 in the NFL for passing yards, despite missing half the season. That tells you everything you need to know about Dak.
All right, at 78, we got Khalil Mack, outside linebacker, had 39 tackles and 6 QB sacks, and he's still a force to be reckoned with. A 9-time Pro Bowler, he continues to disrupt opposing QBs. You still have to pay attention to Khalil Mack. What's your take on Khalil?
Absolutely. And the thing about Khalil Mack, you don't hear about him as much because, again, a lot of the times players get forgotten about or swept under the rug because of lack of team success. And it's 10 times worse if you're a defensive player. So, again, well deserved. And that's why I like this list. It gives a spotlight to the solid
Right.
players out there that the media can't cover all the time.
All right. At 77, we got T. Higgins, wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. He had 73 receptions, 911 yards, and 10 TDs. He's making his first top 100 list. He took a chance playing. Took a chance, honey. He took a chance on playing on the franchise tag, and it paid off. And his peers noticed it and respected him for it, and they rewarded him for it being on the top 100 list. He completes the trio with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase for the Bengals' potent offense. What's your take on T. Higgins?
He's a big part of that offense, not just from what he's able to produce, but also, again, when you have two solid receivers on opposite sides of the line, it just spreads out defenses, and you can't double the other receiver in any situation. So again, he plays a major role in that team, not just by stats, but just with the presence.
Felix, this next guy is the type of guy that I know Troy loves. Vita Vea, defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, had 42 tackles, 7 sacks. He's a consistent defensive presence for the Bucks. He makes his first top 100 list. He wrecks havoc in the run game, and he's made his second Pro Bowl. What's your take on Vita?
One of the best front seven players in the NFL still. And again, a lot of people when they talk about the Buccaneers, we talk all about their offense, Mayfield
Hmm.
and Evans
Hmm.
deservingly. But at the same time, people forget about what happens on the other side of the ball, and people
Hmm.
forget to look at hey, what happens to the Buccaneers opposing offenses when they have to face off against this team. So again, well deserved spot.
At 75, we got Patrick Queen, linebacker, Pittsburgh Steelers. He had 129 tackles and one sack. After being traded from Baltimore to Pittsburgh, he fit into the Steelers defense perfectly. I think he fits in any defense perfectly myself.
Yeah.
His peers say he's a top 100 player and makes the list, even in what he considered to be a bad year. What's your take on the Queen?
Solid player all around. Really, he's a major he's a major piece of an already dangerous Steelers team right now. So again, all eyes on the Steelers, and it's not because of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not in trying to down put him down,
Mhm.
but it's their defense, and they're even more dangerous than ever.
Mhm. At 74, Felix Troy is thrilled that Bobby Wagner, middle linebacker for the year Washington Commanders, is on this list. He had, check this out, he had 132 tackles, two sacks. He's a 10-time Pro Bowler. He improved Washington immediately with his experience and his presence, turning around a bad defense from the previous year. Check this out. Wagner has had 100 tackles or more in all 13 of his years in the NFL. That's impressive. Impressive, Scott. You know the only other player that's done that? Ray Lewis. And guess who's the number one of all time with the tackles, trailing only London Fletcher. London Fletcher had 14 years with 100 tackles. Man, that London Fletcher was a tackling machine, wasn't he, man? But for the most seasons with 100 plus tackles. What's your take on Bobby Wagner?
You pretty much said it all. I mean, the Commanders. This is a team that already had so much set up at defense. Now, just having a solid linebacker. Now, there's another linebacker on this list, by the way. I'm not going to spoil for those who don't know, but what he did for this team, like you said, it's an immediate upgrade, and the defense benefited from it.
Mhm, mhm. At 73, we got Christian McCaffrey, running back for the 49ers, only played in 4 games, and he's one of the main reasons that Tom the Bomb is not playing fantasy football this year. Even still, he makes his third consecutive year in the top 100. When healthy, he's one of the best in the game. It's that's period. When he's healthy, he's one of the best in the game. What's your take on Christian?
Okay, objectively speaking, although he's a great player, if you're basing it off of output this year, he really shouldn't be. He only played 4 games. Again,
Mhm.
nothing against him as a player. He's one of my favorite players, but at the same time, if you're going to put Jalen Hurts at number 9 on top 10 quarterbacks based on his performance this year, you cannot have Christian McCaffrey anywhere in the 100 list. So honestly speaking, that's where I have to scratch my head. I wasn't expecting to hear him on the list,
Well,
but again, well placed.
let me just say this in his defense, Felix, and you may not know this, but in the 4 games that he played, he was I think he was second in all the rushing categories in the 4 games that he played before he got hurt. So he got hurt like he always does, but while he was there playing, he was still Christian McCaffrey. Okay. At 72, we got Sam Darnold, QB for Seattle Seahawks. It's weird saying Seattle Seahawks. Had his best season ever as a pro. He threw for 4,319 passing yards. He had 35 TD passes with 12 interceptions. In the right situation, he's proved that he can play, making his first Pro Bowl. We'll find out in Seattle if he's just a one-year wonder. What's your take on Sam?
That's what I'm concerned about because Sam Darnold, he had a solid year last year, but at the same time, you take him out of that system he had in Minnesota, and you take him away
Mhm.
from that defense he had in Minnesota. I don't think he repeats this year, but again, take nothing from him, solid quarterback. I'm glad he finally had that breakout year that he's been waiting on.
I still can't believe that Seattle ditched Geno for Sam Darnold.
I know.
For $5 million, I wouldn't have done that. At 71, we got Kirby Joseph, safety for the Detroit Lions. He led the NFL with 9 interceptions and had 58 tackles. He has great ball hawking skills, which is evident because he had 9 picks, but allowed him to make his first top 100 list after being snubbed by the Pro Bowl. How do you lead the league in interceptions and not make a Pro Bowl? Only Hall of Famer Ed Reed has done what Joseph has done over his first 3 years in the NFL. Check that out.
His stats speak for themselves here, obviously, but you compound it with the fact that he plays safety. He's not playing these receivers directly one-on-one. So this is elite level footwork. This is elite level placement, elite level being able to just cover the field as a whole. So again, it just speaks to his talent being able to do that at the position that he's in.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Hey, we made it through the list. We're running a little bit. That's pretty much it. Hey, we have a memorial here. Hey, we this past week, well, this week we lost our Aunt Jeannie. Hey, wow, she's my mother-in-law's sister, and man, there was not one birthday of mine that went by that she wasn't sending me stuff. Not one
Wow.
Father's Day that went by that she wasn't. As a matter of fact, I felt like it was almost like she was my mother-in-law, and not my mother-in-law's sister. You know, the love that she showed for me. She always made me feel welcome. She was warm and loving and greatly loved. Be greatly missed. Lori, do you want to say anything at all?
Blessed and beloved by all.
Lori says, blessed and beloved by all. Well done, that good and faithful servant. I say this over and over, and I'm not just saying, I get great pleasure in knowing that I'm going to be with my family in eternity. That it's like death is part of life. Okay, and when it happens, it's like if somebody moved to Houston and you couldn't call them anymore because they were in Houston. Well, they're, you can't get in touch with them, but you know where they are. They're in Houston. You just can't talk to them. That's how it is. We know she's in heaven, with our Father, and we're gonna miss, greatly love, we greatly miss
Janetta Brett.
Janetta Bradford. Thank you,
Thank you,
Lori.
Janetta.
I don't know why you wouldn't say anything. I mean, hey, gang, that's our show for today. Uh, um, don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube and hit that like bell, please. If you're enjoying the content and you'd like to bless our ministry, okay, you can sow into the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk by Cash App, at hashtag Cash Apping us at hashtag $Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. And don't forget to check out our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. And you can always email us at info@tomthebombsports.com. Be sure to check in on let us know what you think about our poll question. Should the WNBA ladies be getting paid more? What's your thoughts on that? We want to know. Hey, gang, for a dynamic, in-depth sports analysis and highlights for sports in the DMV and more, check out the Washington Sports Den on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on WBGR with my main man, Mr. Felix Bassey. Look, his future's so bright, he needs great. It's a great show. If you enjoy Felix on the Tom and Bob, you will enjoy him on the Washington Sports Den. Hey, man, time flies when you're having fun. We're out of time here, but we sure do thank you for spending your time with us. Look, we don't take that for granted. Listen, may the gates of heaven open and pour out abundance of blessings down on you where there won't be room enough to contain it. As you live off the overflow and as you step boldly into the realm of grace. Remember, if you want it, you got to confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he rose on the third day, not a Thursday, right, Lori?
Right.
Just for you. Just for, if it had only been you, he still would have sent him for you. Hey, gang, Tom the Bomb wants to leave you with a thought today. Duct tape may patch a lot of things, but 3 nails fixed everything. Amen. Remember, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Look, God bless you guys. You guys have a good evening. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same bat channel. Thanks a lot, Felix.
Of course.
You guys have a good evening. God bless you. Good night.
This is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine, daughter of mine. This is your time, and you gon' shine, and
Well, I'm coming out with a word in my mouth, filled with excitement to say what it's all about. For a long time, I've held this water in, let the floodgates open, let the miracles begin. I've prayed, and I've gone back 7 times, look again, cause the miracles are mine, stir the water. I'm about to step in like the pool of Bethesda, let the healing begin.
Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
It took a minute to get my composure right. For years it seems like I've been fighting for my life. Confusing times when my days resemble nights. But now this eagle is about to take flight and soar out of darkness to its revelation light. Though the waves are rough, I step out my comfort zone to walk on water, cause I know I'm not alone. God's got my back and reminds me I'm his own. His words are sweet in my mouth, they taste like a honeycomb. And faith has opened up my eyes. I've been through the fire, tested and tried. As I study God's word, I finally realize that my purpose I have to visualize, to bring the unseen from the realm of under night until I walk into the fullness of a purpose-filled life. Cause I'm light. Yes, I am light, and I shine bright. I am an investment of the Lord Jesus Christ. Not only am I light, I am salt. When I enter in, I add flavor to it all. I bring truth, there's no dispute. Jesus is the vine, and in him I take root. I am the head, and not the tail. I'm an overcomer made free to prevail. A new design, a special kind. Ambassador followed by wonders and signs. I am light, and I give signs.